Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Louise Digby, registered nutritional therapist and women's weight loss expert. Today, we're going to be digging into seed oils. Are they a hidden danger to your health, or is all the controversy just fear-mongering? You might have seen the recent explosion of debate online, especially after a very influential source, the Diary of a CEO podcast, covered this topic, leaving many people confused about whether seed oils are ruining their health and making weight loss harder. So today, I want to break it all down for you in a way that's clear, evidence-based, and free from all of the internet noise. I think a good place to start is for us to watch that clip together.
Media. Seed oils are toxic. Seed oils are going to give you Alzheimer's. Seed oils are going to give you cancer. But I've done lots of research and there is absolutely no evidence to show seed oils are harmful. Actually, they're beneficial for our health. And I'll come back to that. But the problem is that there is so much misinformation out there about what we eat, how we eat, and how it affects our health.
So let's go into all of that.
So since this clip surfaced last week, I've had quite a lot of questions and, I get it. When a topic like this blows up, it's hard to know what's fact and what's just exaggerated claims. Some people are saying seed oils are outright toxic, whilst others say they are perfectly fine. But where does the truth actually lie? And more importantly, how does this affect you, your health, your metabolism, and your ability to lose weight? As a nutritionist specializing in women's metabolism and weight loss after 40, I see firsthand how the wrong types of fats can fuel inflammation, disrupt hormones, and make weight loss feel impossible, even when you're eating healthy. But is avoiding seed oils the missing piece, or is this just another health trend creating unnecessary stress? Well, in this episode, I'm going to break it all down in a practical way. No fear-mongering, no biased extremes, just science-backed facts and real-world strategies to help you make the best decisions for your body. And we're leaving no stone unturned. This really is going to be a deep dive with all the facts. And by the end of this video, you're going to know what seed oils actually are and how they're processed, how they impact your metabolism, inflammation, and hormones, whether they contribute to weight gain and stubborn fat storage, which fats are best, and how to transition without the overwhelm. So if you've been wondering whether seed oils are wrecking your health or if it's just another internet scare, then stay tuned and let's dive in. All right, so before we dive into whether seed oils are harmful or not, let's start with the basics. What actually are seed oils and why are they in almost everything that we eat today? Well, seed oils, also known as vegetable oils, are oils that are extracted from seeds and grains. Some of the most common ones include canola oil or rapeseed oil, soybean oil, corn oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, rice bran oil. So if you check the ingredients list on nearly any processed food, whether it's salad dressing, crisps, granola bars, or even so-called healthy protein bars, you'll probably see one of these listed there. So how did we end up with seed oils in almost everything? Well, there are a few key reasons. They are cheap and easy to produce. So seed oils are extracted from crops that are mass produced, making them incredibly cheap to manufacture. They have a long shelf life. So unlike fresh butters or traditional animal fats, seed oils don't spoil quickly, making them ideal for processed foods. They have been marketed as heart healthy. So since the 1950s, we've been told that saturated fat from butter and ghee and animal fat's bad, and that vegetable oils are the healthier alternative. But this advice was largely based on flawed studies and the industry influence. And Seed oil is also perfect for ultra-processed foods. These oils are neutral in flavour and they work well for frying, baking and preserving food, making them the go-to choice for manufacturers. Basically, they were cheap, convenient and easy to market as a healthier alternative to traditional fats. But the big question is, are they actually good for us? And what's the difference between these oils and the natural traditional fats that humans have been consuming for centuries? Not all oils are created equal, and the way an oil is extracted makes a huge difference in how it affects your health. So we have the naturally occurring fats. These come from whole foods and they're extracted using simple mechanical processes like cold pressing. They retain their nutrients and their natural structure. So examples are things like extra virgin olive oil, which is pressed from olives. We've got coconut oil, which is pressed from coconut flesh. Butter and ghee, which is from dairy fat. There's no chemical processing. And then we've got animal fats like tallow and lard, which are traditionally rendered from animals. And then we've got industrially produced seed oils. These require high heat, chemical solvents, and refining to extract oil from seeds that don't naturally contain much fat. The process often includes high heat extraction, which damages the oil, chemical solvents like hexane, a petroleum byproduct which is used to dissolve the oil, and then also deodorization and bleaching, which is to make the oil look and taste neutral. And the result is a highly processed, chemically altered oil that oxidizes easily and promotes inflammation. So while both types of oils technically come from plants, the way that they're made and how they behave in your body are totally different. The big thing to understand is that seed oils are not just another fat. They are a heavily processed, chemically extracted product that our bodies aren't well adapted to consuming in high amounts. And considering they're found in almost every processed food, most people are eating way more of them than we realize. One of the biggest problems with seed oils is that they're made up of polyunsaturated fats or PUFAs, which is a naturally very unstable type of fat. So unlike the more stable fats like butter or coconut oil, seed oils are easily damaged by heat, light, and oxygen. When they're exposed to heat, like cooking or frying, they oxidize and form harmful compounds. Even just sitting in a clear plastic bottle on a supermarket shelf, these oils can start degrading. Once inside your body, oxidized oils contribute to chronic inflammation, which is linked to weight gain and insulin resistance, and hormonal imbalances. And the more seed oils you consume, the more your body incorporates these unstable fats into your cells and your skin and even your fat stores, making you more prone to oxidative stress and inflammation over time. So because seed oils are so delicate, they can turn rancid incredibly fast. And unlike fresh food that smells off when it goes bad, these oils are deodorized during the processing. So you can't tell when they've gone rancid. And you're consuming them without even realizing it. And rancid oils produce toxic byproducts that damage cells, accelerate aging, and increase the risk of metabolic diseases like diabetes and obesity. Now, let's talk about the real hidden danger, the toxic compounds that form when seed oils are processed or heated. First of all, there's trans fats. Some seed oils contain hidden trans fats, even if they say on the label that there's no trans fats. Trans fats are one of the worst things for your health. They've been linked to heart disease, insulin resistance, and increased belly fat. They interfere with fat burning and metabolism, making weight loss harder. Then there's also aldehydes and lipid peroxides. When seed oils are heated for high heat cooking, like frying, they produce aldehydes and lipid peroxides, which are toxic byproducts that damage DNA, increase inflammation, and contribute to diseases like cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. In fact, did you know that a single serving of deep fried chips or fries can expose you to the same amount of toxic aldehydes as smoking 25 cigarettes? Even more alarming, one of the aldehydes found in this portion of chips has been classified by the Australian government as 10 times more toxic than one of their weed killers, which has been banned actually in the UK. This highlights just how harmful these oxidized oils can become when they're heated and reused for frying. And this is why fast food and fried foods are some of the worst sources of seed oils. They've been heated, reheated, and reused multiple times, creating a cocktail of damaging compounds. So, why should you care about all of this? Well, if you're struggling with stubborn weight, hormone imbalances, fatigue, or inflammation, cutting back on seed oils could make a difference. These oils don't just add calories, they actively promote fat storage, disrupt your metabolism, and trigger inflammation that makes it harder to lose weight. And the worst part? Most people have no idea how much they're consuming because these oils are hidden in almost every processed and restaurant food out there. The big thing to understand is that seed oils are not just another fat. They're a heavily processed, chemically extracted product that our bodies aren't well adapted to consuming in high amounts. And considering they're found in almost every processed food, most people are eating just a really high amount of them. One of the biggest reasons seed oils are a problem is because they are high in omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid. Now, omega-6 fats aren't inherently bad. We actually need some in our diet. The problem is that most people are consuming them in massive excess while not getting enough omega-3. So, in an ideal world, we'd be eating close to a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. But thanks to processed foods and seed oils, most people are getting a ratio of more like 20-to-1. Way more omega-6 than omega-3. And this imbalance drives chronic inflammation, which is linked to obesity, insulin resistance, joint pain, and even brain fog. And inflammation interferes with your insulin sensitivity, making it easier to store fat and harder to burn it off. And chronic inflammation also slows down the metabolism, making you feel sluggish and fatigued. So excess omega-6s, they can also increase your hunger hormones like ghrelin, making cravings worse. And, this is why a lot of people struggle with stubborn fat, despite eating what they think is a healthy diet. If your body is constantly inflamed, it's going to hold on to weight, no matter how much you restrict your calories. Now, let's talk about hormones specifically, because seed oils don't just affect your metabolism, they also interfere with estrogen and thyroid function and insulin balance. So, first of all, let's talk about estrogen dominance. Linoleic acid, the omega-6 that I mentioned earlier, it increases the production of inflammatory prostaglandins, which can lead to estrogen dominance. This is linked to PMS, fibroids, heavy periods, and stubborn fat, especially around the hips and thighs. Then we've got the impact on the thyroid. Omega-6 fats get incorporated into your cell membranes, which makes the thyroid hormone less effective at boosting metabolism. If your thyroid slows down, you'll easily gain more weight and you'll find that you get more fatigued. And then insulin resistance wise, seed oils increase inflammation in fat cells, which makes them less responsive to insulin. And this leads to higher blood sugar levels, more fat storage, and a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. And then we also need to think about, how does this impact PCOS and menopause? Women with PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome already have higher inflammation and insulin resistance, which seed oils can make worse. But during menopause, decline in estrogen makes the body more sensitive to inflammation. So excess omega-6s can worsen symptoms like hot flushes, belly fat, and fatigue. So if you're struggling with hormone-related weight gain, reducing seed oils is one simple way that you could support your hormone balance naturally. Now, your gut plays a massive role in your metabolism and immune system, and even hormone regulation. And guess what? Seed oils don't just affect inflammation, they also damage the lining of the gut and disrupt the microbiome. The byproducts of oxidized oils can irritate the gut lining, increasing inflammation. This can lead to bloating, food sensitivities, and poor digestion. And when the gut lining becomes inflamed, toxins and undigested food particles can leak into the bloodstream. This is known as leaky gut syndrome or intestinal hyperpermeability. And this triggers chronic inflammation, autoimmunity, and it can even worsen conditions like IBS and Hashimoto's. So if you've been dealing with digestive issues, bloating, or food sensitivities, again, cutting back on seed oils could be a really good thing for your gut health. Now, here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: how these oils affect your mitochondria, which are the tiny powerhouses inside your cells that produce energy. Your mitochondria are responsible for converting food into usable energy. And when mitochondria are healthy, your body can burn fat efficiently and keep your metabolism running. When they're damaged, your body stores more fat instead of burning it for fuel. And oxidized seed oils create free radicals, which damage mitochondria and make energy production less efficient. Instead of using fat for energy, your body stores it, leading to weight gain and fatigue. And this is why some people feel more energetic when they switch from processed seed oils to more natural fats like olive oil, butter, and coconut oil, because they're fueling their cells properly. To sum up so far, seed oils aren't just another fat in your diet. They have a direct impact on your metabolism by increasing inflammation and slowing fat burning, your hormones by disrupting estrogen, thyroid, and insulin balance, your gut health by promoting leaky gut and digestive issues, and your energy production by damaging mitochondria and making fat burning harder. These are just some ways that seed oils can be indirectly driving weight gain. But do they cause weight gain in a more direct way? Well, let's first talk about how seed oils impact the two hormones that control your appetite, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin's job is to tell your brain when you're full so that you naturally stop eating. But seed oils, specifically linoleic acid, can make your body less responsive to leptin, leading to something called leptin resistance. When you're leptin resistant, your brain doesn't get the signal that you're full, so you keep eating even when your body has had enough. And ghrelin is the hunger hormone that triggers hunger and makes you crave food. Studies show that diets high in linoleic acid can increase ghrelin levels, meaning you feel hungrier even after eating. And this can lead to more snacking, more cravings, and an overall increase in calorie intake without you even realizing it. And the result? You're hungrier, your cravings are stronger, and you eat more, making it easier to gain weight over time. Now let's talk about a big reason why seed oils contribute to weight gain. They're in almost every ultra-processed foods that's designed to make you overeat. And food companies carefully design their products to make them hyper-palatable, meaning they trigger the brain's reward system and keep you coming back for more. The combination of seed oils, sugar, and refined carbs creates the perfect formula for overconsumption. If you think about foods like crisps, fries, biscuits, pastries, and takeaways, once you start eating them, it's almost impossible to stop, right? And that's not a coincidence. These foods don't just make you eat more in the moment, they actually rewire your brain to crave them again and again. The more you eat, the more your body starts relying on processed foods for quick energy, making the whole nutrient-dense foods less appealing. And over time, this cycle leads to weight gain, insulin resistance, and metabolic dysfunction. So while seed oils alone might not cause weight gain directly, they do play a huge role in food addiction, cravings, and overeating, which makes it much harder to stay in control of your diet. Now let's address another big myth. Are all calories the same? A lot of people say it's just about calories in versus calories out. But when it comes to seed oils, not all calories behave in the same way in your body. Different foods require different amounts of energy to digest and metabolize. Protein, for example, has the highest thermic effect, meaning your body burns more calories digesting it. Whole natural fats like butter, olive oil, and avocado require more energy to break down than processed seed oils. And seed oils have one of the lowest thermic effects, meaning that more of their calories go straight to storage as fat. Linoleic acid is stored in fat cells more easily than other fats, making it more likely to contribute to weight gain over time. Unlike natural fats, seed oils don't signal satiety as effectively, meaning you're more likely to overeat. So while on paper, 100 calories of butter and 100 calories of soybean oil might look the same, their effect on your metabolism, hormones, and fat storage are completely different. So it's not just about calories. Seed oils interfere with hunger hormones, making you hungrier and more prone to cravings. They're hidden in processed foods that encourage overeating and food addiction. They contribute to fat storage and inflammation, making it harder to burn fat efficiently. So when we think about everything that we've mentioned so far, the impact of seed oils on hormones, cellular function, gut health, hunger hormones, and appetite, plus the very low thermic effect, isn't this just the definition of a recipe for weight gain? And while seed oils might not be the only cause of weight gain, they create the perfect conditions for it by making it harder to regulate your appetite, control cravings, and burn fat efficiently. And this brings me back to the point that I make so often. Weight problems go so much deeper than calories in versus calories out. Eating less and exercising more or dieting doesn't get to the root of the problem. Weight struggles are one of the most multifaceted health struggles, and that's why I work in this area, because giving someone a meal plan or a meal replacement, it just doesn't achieve anything. It's hormones, metabolism, gut health, environmental toxins, sleep, stress, lifestyle, and a little bit of genetics, plus food quality. That's what really matters. And figuring that out on your own is hard. And, I do my best to share the foundations on this channel and on my socials so that you're equipped with the right information. But there is so much of it that is nuanced and specific to each individual, or even just overwhelming to figure out on your own. So if you're at the point where you're like, I just wish someone could tell me what to do, remove the guesswork, and give me the resources, the education, and the support specific to my needs so that I can optimize my health and release fat along the way, then get in touch, my friend, because that's exactly what I do. And I'll drop the link in the description for you so you can find out more about that. But anyway, getting back to seed oils specifically, I want to acknowledge that the research on seed oils, it isn't conclusive. There are studies that back up all of the points that I've made today, and there are studies that show that seed oils have benefits. However, I still strongly believe that seed oils are not something we should be viewing as healthy, because that encourages us to have more of them in the diet. And given that there's very good research showing the detrimental effects of aldehydes and lipid peroxides to health, and we know that the processing of these oils results in these problems, and we also know that too much of these oils in the diet leads to too much omega-6 in relation to omega-3, and that's also detrimental to our health. I think with all of that in mind, it's safe to say that it's best to minimize our consumption. Do seed oils that you consume when you're eating a handful of unprocessed seeds cause the same problems? Absolutely not, because they haven't gone through the same processing and you're eating a tiny amount alongside all the other goodness of the seed. Whereas the way that we're consuming seed oil typically is in quantities way higher than we ever would naturally, and typically within ultra processed foods and after the oil has already been ultra processed. So technically, the problem isn't seed oils, it's the processing and it's the quantity. But when the overall conversation about seed oils is happening, it's always referring to the processed version. So let's finish up by getting into the practical part of today's episode. If you're wondering, does this mean that I need to avoid seed oils completely? The answer depends on your individual health goals. But if you're trying to lose weight, balance your hormones, or reduce inflammation, cutting back on seed oils could make a real difference. You can start off by reading food labels. Avoid foods that have canola, rapeseed, soybean, sunflower, safflower, or vegetable oils. Try and cook with natural fats instead. Use butter, ghee, coconut oil, avocado oil, or extra virgin olive oil instead. And choose whole unprocessed foods. Stick to foods in their natural state rather than packaged ultra-processed options. And be mindful when you're eating out. Most restaurants use seed oils, so opt for grilled foods or over fried foods and ask for olive oil-based dressings. I would suggest to aim to avoid seed oils 80% of the time by cooking at home, reading labels, and choosing whole foods. For the other 20%, don't stress if you're eating out or having the occasional prepackaged snack. This keeps it sustainable whilst minimizing the long-term negative effects of seed oils. Focus on what you can control, which is when you cook at home, buy in the staples like the good fats and keep an eye on sauces and salad dressings. When choosing snacks, go for better options that are made with coconut oil and avocado oil. And the best part is when you switch to healthier fats, you'll likely feel more satisfied, you'll have fewer cravings, and you'll naturally eat less without needing to count calories or restrict yourself. That was the complicated topic of seed oils. It's a hot debate right now, and it's easy to be confused and misled because people with big platforms and credible backgrounds are often so passionately against anything that goes against the conventional thinking. And they cite research that proves their points and claim that anyone who doesn't agree doesn't understand the research. But the thing is, you can cherry pick pretty much any study out there to prove any point you want to make. There's always studies that show pros and there's always studies that show cons, especially in the world of nutrition. Yes, we need to follow the science when it is conclusive, but we also need to be aware that there are many landmark studies, or there have been many landmark studies that were groundbreaking originally, but have been discredited and debunked over the years. And also most studies, they have flaws in them, from relying on self-reported data from participants or looking at correlations in massive populations. And, we all know that correlation doesn't equal causation. Many have poor study designs, and many rely on studies on animals rather than humans, or studies on cells in petri dishes rather than real people in tightly controlled conditions over a long period of time, which is almost impossible to achieve. And that's why there's a lot to be said about the experience and the expertise of qualified, unbiased health professionals who have everyday experience one-on-one with real people. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. So I would love to hear from you on this one. Were you surprised at how much there is to all of this? There is more to it. We could really get into the nitty-gritty, but I think you're getting the picture. Are you now looking at your food products in search of seed oils? Let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or send me a DM on Instagram if you're listening to the podcast. I really hope this has helped you to feel more confident and informed about seed oils and how they impact your health. And if you did find this helpful, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. It really does make a difference for my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.